So we got Rocky, correct?
Yeah.
Looks like was it a male mini American Shepherd?
Yes.
Mm, and you're looking for obedience and the behavior modification. He has a solid foundation in basic obedience, but I'm having issues with guests over. Okay. So go ahead and fill me in on Rocky, what you're kind of looking to address, and then just just sharing any information that I should know about Rocky.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually moved to Chicago about 2 weeks ago,
Oh,
and I was living in California with him. So he was pretty good out there, but obviously, so I'm in Lincoln Park, and it's a lot more vibrant of a town, a lot more people, busy roads, and just through all of that, some of his obedience training hasn't been as good, as well as, so like, he was, I guess you could say, a COVID puppy. So I got him during COVID, and I tried to socialize him as much as possible. So we can go out, we can sit like on a bench and stuff. He's fine, people walking by, but he gets overly excited when he greets people. And I'm having a big issue with his jumping, as well as like anytime a guest comes over, I've been noticed recently, there's a big mix of excitement, but then I also think some stress.
okay.
And so I think that's really the main issue right now, as well as, just queuing in on some of his obedience. I saw you guys use e-collar, and especially now in some of the parks, I'd really like to get him trained on that just for my safety as well,
Mhm. Correct. Yeah.
and his. But yeah, so I think I'm really looking for just, go over some more of the foundations, cue in on his like heel, loose leash walking, and then really just addressing how to properly meet someone, not to jump on them, and all of that. And yeah.
Okay. Um, and then what is his foundation right now? Like, what commands does he know?
Yeah. So I've been going back and forth on it. And so I previously worked with a trainer, and we didn't do too many sessions just because I didn't really like the way she approached it. She kind of just, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, slapped a prong collar on him. And I don't think she really properly introduced it and really taught him, all right, this is heel. This is like what, given him an like what I'm looking for. She was just correcting him and
Mhm.
not actually teaching it. So in a low distraction environment, I feel like his heel is pretty good.
Mhm.
He's not like, if we're walking, like his loose leash is pretty good. Like he's not really going to lunge at anyone. He's not going to bark at anyone. He does, and I've been trying to get rid of this. Like he likes to turn his head and watch, but he's not like going to bark or react really negatively. So he knows that. But I think that still needs a lot of work. And then he has like a good foundation with sit down. He, I trained him a lot with only positive at first with just treats. So when I have a treat or something that's motivating him, he's like perfect. And then when I take the treat or the food away, sometimes the basics kind of go away. But yeah, he'll hold a sit. I can walk 15, 20 feet away, put him in a down, he'll hold it down.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, and then his recall, pretty good. I think it needs to be better. I think I also made the mistake that when I was first teaching him the recall, it was, all right, sit down, and then I was Rocky come, and then he would come, but I didn't teach it to him. I've been trying more like, because he's not going to be stationary when I'm trying to recall him.
Mhm.
So I think he knows what it is, but whether he chooses to listen all the time is a different story.
Got it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is that he knows recall, but in the sequence of sit there, then I come, and then
Yeah.
call you. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Mm.
Um.
And like he loves squirrels most of the time. Like if we're sitting, I sort of, and like I'm pretty sure he knows, like if he sees a squirrel, he'll look at me and he'll either stay there if I say our release word's free,
Mhm.
and then he'll go. Usually I'm like, all right, Rocky, come, and he'll come back most of the times. But Yeah, so he knows that. And then recently, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, I just started working in a place command.
Got it. Nice.
Um, so I just started teaching that. I have a little cot in our corner. And I think he's definitely picking up on it. I'm sure like he picks up on things quickly.
Mhm.
So I'm still only using it like the command when I'm working with him on a leash. But I can put him there. He can hold it 10, 15 minutes. He really likes like toys, stuffed animals. So I like especially new ones. And I've been like trying to work on some of his impulse by throwing the toy. He'll still hold it till I give him his free word. So he's picking up on that.
Good.
So I was trying to see if that would help when I have guests over as well to put him in place command.
Yeah.
But
Um, good. Anything else I should know about Rocky?
no, I think that's it. Well, yeah. So one of the other issues, and I think maybe this will come with some of the training, is he every night. So he's still sleeping in his crate. He loves his crate,
Yeah.
and I'll put him in there crate. He'll run in there, no problems. And like if like my girlfriend comes over to sleep over, he's in there crying all night,
Okay.
and he can't. So she's been over now since I've been back maybe 6 times, and up until last time, like he's panting the whole time, or even if I have guests over, he's jumping on them. The only way, like at first, I could somewhat get him calm would be to give him a bone, like something to chew on. And I think I'm like wondering if it's stress because you can kind of see it in his eyes. But I mean, she's been over here like 6 times, and like this morning, he was like okay. Like for the first time I've ever had someone over, he was like actually able to take a nap in the morning.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering like as well if we work on the foundations and teach him how to be calm, and maybe that stems from like a heel
Mhm.
that if I have guests over, that'll translate.
Got it. And then what do you mean by that? Healing translating to the guests?
Well, just like so. Well, at first I thought his heel was really good, but then I realized that he's almost setting the pace, so I'm walking faster to keep him by my side, and I can tell like so when like we're walking, he's constantly scanning everything, looking at everything, trying to walk fast. Like I can't really get him like it doesn't to me seem like he's in a calm state, like enjoying it. Like it seems like he's just constantly looking at everything, trying to smell everything, figuring out what car's going by,
Mhm.
and like I can just see his head like going back and forth.
Yeah.
So like I'm wondering if like I'm able to work with him and teach him how to like kind of just be calm on a walk when there's like a lot of cars and noises and people. If that'll translate with wow, there's someone in my space, I can be calm there.
Got it. Makes sense. Good.
But I don't really know if there's a like transition there, but
Yeah, we'll get into it. But that's a good it's a good idea. And then it does kind of work that way. But like I said, we'll get into it later.
okay.
So right now I have Rocky. Um, he's just excited. And then he gets stressed with the guests and like your girlfriend. And then increasing the reliability of his foundational commands. Correct.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Um
Strong collar.
yeah, he's on what I think it's 2.25, one of the Hermspringers, which also I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job, and maybe I need to be trained better on how to use it or whatever tools you guys use
Mhm.
to be able to set the fair expectations to him of exactly why I'm correcting him and what I'm correcting him for. Because
Yes.
sometimes when we're walking, I'm not sure if he really understands it and what's fair of me to correct or not correct.
Yeah, so it sounds like the trainer did the old school yank and crank method
Yes.
where like you sit, you don't sit, pop, and then the heel, pop, heel,
Mhm.
pop, leash popping.
Yeah. And
Which
that's why I didn't really do too many sessions with her.
Yeah.
I tried to just, read as much as I could online and watch as much videos online to educate myself. But I felt like that wasn't like I believe in that as a tool and it is it as like an effective tool, but I believe it's how you use it and how I communicate to him
Yeah.
with it.
Correct. And
And
that's
that's not what she was teaching me how to do.
yeah. Um, and that goes for like every tool as well. It's you have all these tools, but the the way they're applied and the teacher behind it is what is going to make the tool kind of bring out like the best of it. But yeah, but yeah, it has it's we always start from scratch no matter what training has been done. Even if the e-collar trained dogs always start from scratch, teach
Yeah.
reteach everything, but our way, because we've had a lot of dogs go to other trainers with the yank and crank method or yank and crank method. Um, what is it? E-collar version where they're high and they're correcting every single little thing, but like super high. Until like to the point where like the dog's like an edgy dog and they're just like super tense about everything.
Uh-huh. And I
So
don't know if that's what he is right now. Like, and I'm sure if you met, you would be able to easily tell that. But that's what I want to do is, I mean, yeah, just go over all the basics, teach it to him again, even if he knows it, so I can set fair expectations to him and minimize any correction. So yeah, just so he knows exactly what I'm asking him to
yeah.
do.
What I'm getting from Rocky is a lot of overstimulation
Yes.
and a little bit of anxiety, not like nothing intense.
Mhm.
So when he's in stress, he tends to go into like anxious mode type thing, right?
Yeah.
So every dog has a different stress response. His response is I'm stressed. Like he's gonna like his tongue gets like probably big. He's like panting like he ran a
Yeah.
marathon.
Big panting, he'll excessively chew on a bone.
Yeah. So that bone is him releasing the stress onto something else. So like I don't know if you've probably seen those videos where like the owner comes home and the dog grabs the ball, comes to the owner and wiggling the ball and like chewing the ball and they think, oh, he wants you to play. No, your dog is just stressed and he's trying to get rid of that stress. So it's kind of
Okay.
funny. But it's similar to like the humans when we're like, those balls we squeeze to
Yeah.
like to release stress. That's like the same thing that Rocky's doing to that
Mhm.
bone.
And
Um,
so he never like really whines with me, but like especially then with like if I'll put him in a sit, like he has a hard time when I'm talking to someone who's around someone with a sit. And like recently, like maybe 2 weeks ago, he picked up like this whining behavior as well. Is that part of that as well?
it's just the frustration. It's the frustration starting to increase because he's like, oh, here we go again. It's a sit, and I
Okay.
can't move, and then he's just getting frustrated. That's
So is
all.
that the boundaries I'm setting for him, he's unclear on? And
No,
that's what,
it has nothing to do because right now with the tools you have and the knowledge you've been given, you're doing your best, right? What needs to happen is a clearer so with the prong collar, right? Prong collars are good to create a good foundation. Pros and cons. So the pros are it's physicality, right? It's their language, they understand it.
yeah.
The cons is sometimes your dog is so anxious, stressed, excited, these mindsets that the prong collar won't be able to override the anxiety or the stress. It can make it either worse to the point where it's like just annoying, not the anxiety as a whole worse, but just in that moment, it can get annoying for the dog. They get more frustrated because they don't know what to do and they're getting corrected. And they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm stressed. I'm getting corrected. I don't like this. So if like let's say Rocky's staring at a squirrel, like something runs by, and you start leash popping him, right? Sometimes those don't work because Rocky's like at a 10, and then your strongest leash pop in the prong is at a 9. So you'll never be able to override the brain in that moment. And same thing with like the stationary commands. You can't bring him out of that mindset of being anxious and wanting to move.
Okay.
Um, so, like I said, it's nothing on your end. It's just you need more tools on your belt and more knowledge as with the tools. So, what else? Does it answer your question, kind of?
Yeah.
What else? So excited. Anxious here. Anxious. Anything else?
No, I think that's for the most part really it.
Okay. So let's say, you're able to have that structured heel, that very strong heel. Our version of heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. So if you take 5 steps with Rocky,
Yeah.
Rocky takes 5 steps. You can take 10. He takes 10. If you come to a
And
stop,
that's not what he is right now. It's I'll be by your side, maybe I'll walk ahead, maybe I'll walk, and it's sometimes I'll stop when I get the auto like sit, but definitely not always. And it's not I walk 5, you walk 5.
got it. So let's say we teach him that. So he's got the sit down. He's got all the foundation commands. He's really good. If you were to have everything you'd want with Rocky, what would life look like? So, like, for example, are you just trying to walk Rocky around the block, have him maybe go on like an open area, run around, or play with a few dogs? You need recall, and then you go home. Or do you see yourself maybe going to patios a lot, like outdoor restaurants, and you need him to like lay down and not move?
Yeah,
Um,
I I would like that, and like he has, he has a pretty solid, well, in my definition, foundation of like a stationary sit and down.
mhm.
This morning I took him like the Collectiva down the street, had a coffee, 20 minutes. He sat there, didn't move.
Nice, good,
But I think that's still it could improve, definitely.
got it. And then the last one would be, or do you do all those things? And then do you have like I guess every other weekend you go like hiking or something? You want to take him with you and then have him off leash there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just what would life look like if you were to have everything you want with Rocky?
Yeah, I would say it's probably everything you said. I mean, he loves his frisbee fetch, running around at the park. I would love to. Right now, I have him on a long line most of the time, just because of all the streets and this, like, just for safety. I would love to, go to the park, have him off leash walking through the park. If it's not too busy, have him walking by my side in a heel. Give him some freedom to go sniff, come back, run around, fetch. Um, yeah, take him out down the street,
Nice.
and really just like right now we can go to the park and he'll lay next to me. But if I'm going to meet like 10, 15 friends, I would love to be able to bring him and him hold it down there or stationary down, and yeah, and
Nice.
just really have like people over, and he can be calm. He can feel okay. He knows how to behave, and he's not going to be running around circles stressed.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just asked those. I always ask these questions, or me and Jesse always ask these questions just to kind of get a feel for of like what you're looking for, what you're wanting, just so that we can put you in like the best program that would be best fitted for you and Rocky.
Okay.
That's good to know. um,
Yeah, I mean, and then depending on how many I went with, like, I would also love to not only do some of the basics, but maybe work on some more advanced, like, yeah, just advanced skills with like heel, and just keep building on it as
got
well.
it. Yeah, it sounds like you have a good foundation, and then what you'll find is that since he already has like kind of a feel for of pressure work, prong collar.
Yeah.
Uh, it sounds like this would go very smoothly for him, and he'll understand it right off the bat on what's going on. And it looks like we're just going to be just taking another step up with his training. That's all. Even if he didn't have any foundation work, you know, e-collar, the way it works is very successful just because again it's their language. So like prong collar is physicality. It's physically it's
Yeah.
their language. Dogs are physical animals. Same thing with e-collar. It's something that's touching them, so they're able to understand it right off the bat. um
If you have like a dog, let's say there's a bunch of people over and he's wearing his e-collar, if he's already anxious or nervous, is using an e-collar going to snap him out of that? Or if he's already anxious or stressed, does that just contribute to the problem?
Got it. Yeah. So let's say we start e-collar training, right? And then let's say before we start, he's kind of just cool about it, everything. But then we start working with him, and then maybe you start seeing him get stressed, right?
Mhm.
E-collar isn't, or anxious. Let's say he's starting to get anxious. E-collar isn't making your dog anxious or giving him anxiety. That is just his stress response. Because this feeling, right? No one likes it.
Normal to adopt.
Right? It's discipline, and no one likes getting disciplined. So we're going to be kind of getting into his head. So as he's feeling this, he's like, "Man, I don't like this anymore. Like I don't like it." So then you're going to see his stress response, right?
Okay.
As you keep working with Rocky and teaching him that, "Hey, buddy, just do this," and then this goes away. He'll be like, "Oh, okay," and then he'll understand it. Because what needs to happen to Rocky is we need to give him a job. So he's going on these walks and scanning, right? And then, like I said, it's called overstimulation. He doesn't know where to do, what to do, because he's like, "What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that?" Right?
Yeah.
Or what's the smell? What's that dog doing? Where's that car going? Who's behind me? Right? So with the e-collar, the way we're going to be teaching is letting him know that here's your job throughout the walk. This is what you need to do. And then once he figures that out, he's gonna be like, "Oh, okay," and then he'll know what to do. So then you'll start to see, like, or like, sometimes owners will say like, "Yeah, I take my dog for so many walks throughout the day. We come home and my dog has a bunch of energy," and that's kind of playing in a part of overstimulation. Is that an overstimulated dog will never be tired. Physically, they'll get the exercise, but mentally, they're not getting that exercise. So we're also exercising him mentally because, again, the way our heel is super strict of walk with me, stand with me, sit when I stop, that he needs to have his right shoulder parallel with your left leg, loose leash in any environment. So that's strict. So strict that, again, he should not have to worry about anything besides you. So then he'll know what to do. And then with that much focus, it gets mentally tiring for a dog. So they'll come home, what's the word? Fulfilled,
Yeah.
like mentally fulfilled and physically fulfilled. So then sometimes these little moments of being anxious in the home when guests come over, sometimes it goes away. If not, then we'll talk about how we address these head on in these moments when this happens.
Okay.
So another comparison would be like in the car. Sometimes we get dogs who are super stressed in the car, and they're doing that whole thing of like that panting and that like that whining, or like the drooling or the salivating, right? We can use e-collar to calm a dog down, right? So in the cars, we use e-collars to just tell them, "Hey, settle down." And as this keeps getting repeated, owners will say, "Wow, my dog goes in the car." They go in the car and then they lay down and they just fall asleep.
Okay.
Before, my dog was standing there like looking around, barking at everyone. Now they just sleep. So
Yeah.
e-collar is can do a lot of different things.
Yeah. I wish I knew that before. As a puppy, he was very nervous in the car. He was getting, I could take him on a 3-minute car ride and he would get excessively drool and throw up and get car sick every single time.
Mhm.
And
Now,
now it's better. I spent a lot of time actually trying to fix that, but I
yeah,
think that would have solved my problem a lot faster.
yeah. So like what you're saying, like when he's stressed, he shows, like he lets you know he's stressed.
Yeah.
So if that comes up in the training,
Hands.
what needs to happen is we just need to keep doing it.
Okay.
Because it's, if like let's say we're training and then you're like, "I don't like how he is right now. I don't like he's stressed," but it's like the first lesson. It's normal, right?
Yeah.
We stop there, he'll never get over it. He's still going to be stressed. So what needs to happen is we need to get over that hump. And once he realizes it, "Oh, this is what I need to do. This is the feeling. I understand it." Then you'll start to see him become more confident and he'll know what to do and everything.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'd like to also work on building his confidence because he's never like a reactive dog. He's not going to lunge at a dog, bark at a dog when we're walking. But there is sometimes where he'll see a dog and he'll almost stop and not really know to keep walking. Or there's sometimes where he'll be right by my side. He'll see the dog like parallel with us, and then he'll want to not run but walk faster ahead and then turn his head to look at the dog.
got it. Yeah. That's something that,
In a
will,
strict, it would definitely help.
yes, correct. Um, Cool. So have you do you know what an e-collar is, like the technology and like how it feels and everything, or?
I don't, so I'm familiar with the technology. I don't really know how it feels, but I've definitely read up on eco.
So there's a lot of different. I mean, the old school term would be shock collar.
Yeah,
Um, Jesse likes to call the e-collars electric. They're electric, but they're not electricity. So it's not flowing through the dog's body. The brand we use is called Dogtra. So the
mhm,
Dogtra ones have, and most e-collars have the strap, the little box, two contact points, right? The touch, the feeling is very similar to a TENS unit or like STEM.
yeah.
Chiropractors use and physical therapists use. So it's just like a muscle contractor. So if I had it on my hand right here, and it kept going up, 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 you'll start to eventually see my thumb move like this. It'll start to twitch, right? Because the two contact points are here. One second. Um, so you'll see my thumb starts to start to twitch. You won't see my neck start to twitch because it's on here. So
Yeah.
whatever the two contact points are touching is what it's going to be affecting. They're waterproof, a mile to a half mile long range. Um, our brand and the model has 127 levels. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 127, right? There are other brands out there that maybe go to 10 or like 20 or something like that. So think of the 10, the power of 10 equal to 127. We just have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's breed, personality, the scenario we're in, or whatever we're working on. So the issue with the 10 level eco would be 5 is making Rocky yelp. It's too much. Okay, let's go down to 4. Rocky's not responding because it's too low. So then you're stuck,
Yeah.
right? But for dog show, why we have so many numbers, now we can be more specific. So if 40 is too low, 50 is too high, we can go to 45, 43, or 44. We can be very specific.
Mhm. Is
Uh,
it one number when you're training? Is it one number that you set, or do you alternate it throughout a walk or something based on how he's acting, or you give him like a low one to see how he responds and let him know like, hey, like stop us off or it's going to increase, etc.
yeah. So I don't know what Rocky's number is going to be. He'll let us
Yeah.
know. So we have a few, it's called the working number, the number we use for training. Now, if we're in a situation where we're walking and let's say the number's working, this is his number, then let's say he sees a dog and this number's not working anymore. Well, then you know when you see a dog come up, bump at 5 or bump at 10 to kind of have him disengage from that to make him continue walking, right? So again, it's in depending on like the environments. Like in the heat, when it's super hot outside, he's like tired, right? The number's probably going to be higher because Rocky's more concerned about his temperature and getting water and trying to go home, right? Or let's say around your block, let's say you lived in a quiet neighborhood, his number's probably lower. But then you go to like the city, right? His number's going to be higher just because the environment has changed. There's dogs, bikes, cars, traffic, noise, all these other things are playing to a part of the number. So it's don't so it's never going to be like one number, right? Because every
Okay.
day is different. Now it shouldn't be like one day was 20 and then one day was 90, right? That's a big jump, right? So it
Yeah.
should be like 20 to 30 on our general walks at the dog park, 30 to 50, 40, and when he's playing with his friends, 50, 60, right? Something like it'll go like that.
Okay.
Um, what else? Any other questions about the e-collar itself?
Do some of them have like, I don't know if it's the Dodger brand or what one it was that I was thinking. They have like a beep, not like a shock, but like a noise that it makes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, dog truck does not have the beeper. It has the stimulation, which is the mode we use, and then it also has the pager, which is the vibration function, which we don't use for training. We just use it to see if the collar's on. Because if you turn on the collar, it has a little light, but sometimes if you're in the sunlight, you can't see it. So instead of like feeling the shock and like turning it up to make sure it's on, you would press the vibrating button. I felt it vibrate, then we can call the dog up.
Okay.
But we do not use the beeper. We don't have the beepers on the Dogtra brand.
Okay.
Any other questions about the collar?
No, I don't think so.
Yes. What else? So for the beeper, the reason why we don't use beepers are like, because to us it's considered like a warning, right? The way we teach our commands is that there's no, how do I say, warning. It's, I say it, you don't do it, you get this,
Okay.
right? If he's like chasing a bunny and you press that beeper and you're taking it, like, I'm pressing the beeper, why is something going to
Yeah,
happen?
you're taking.
Then you'll shot and then you'll like tap him, right? For like the stimulation. Then there's like, you spent all that time, or there's like that delay right there. So then that's why we don't use beepers or like the tone or like the vibrate first. Now we do use vibration for like deaf dogs. No, yes, deaf dogs. We use a vibration
Okay.
function. What else? Any other questions about the e-collar?
No, I don't think so.
They're rechargeable. You don't need batteries or anything. Just plug them in the wall and all that. And
Is
then
there a certain model you would recommend that you guys use?
how much does Rocky weigh?
He's like 30 pounds, 30, between 30 and 33 pounds.
30 and okay. And how old is he?
He's just over a year.
Donovan. You can take Lola out and you can put her back in my room if you're gonna bleach and everything. Um, yes. So after this consultation, a follow-up email will be sent out to you of the brand or the model I recommend for Rocky.
Okay.
You have options. You can either purchase it yourself on Amazon, or we sell some here, same price and everything, and then it's whatever you want to do after that.
Okay.
But yes, we do have certain brands, certain models for certain dogs. Weight plays a part of it. Breed plays into a part of it. Because way a lot of these websites and companies work is that if your dog is on a certain amount, under a certain number of pounds, you get this brand. But then that like that 40 or something pound is a pit bull that's aggressive, and that e-collar that's meant for 50 and under isn't enough. That dog needs a big boy collar,
Yeah.
right? Over. So there's a lot of stuff that we find that is incorrect from their perspective, what we've seen, and not all pit bulls should be on the big boy collar. It's just saying like usually like they're more of an intense breed. So
Yeah.
like bulldogs or like the Frenchies, especially Frenchies, they're still a bully breed, but they're small and they don't weigh that much, right? So they still would technically, some of them would get the big boy collar because of the breed and how intense they can get. Um, what else? So yeah, is Rocky like long coated?
Yeah.
Okay. So then there may be a need for extended long contact points to kind of go into the fur, because the original contact points that come with the remote or the collar you buy are just like half an inch. But since he's got that long fur, it'll be like extended points that go into the fur so that you're getting consistent contact and the fur isn't becoming an issue, because fur acts as a buffer.
Yeah.
So if we felt it on our skin, we have no buffer. It's just skin. So dogs again have that fur as a buffer. What else?
And in the first like session, you would like help me set it up, make sure it's fitted properly, introduce it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Were you looking for, how do I say? Um, were you looking for like in one-on-one, board and train, daycare and train, or did you? What were you thinking?
Probably one-on-one.
Got it. So one-on-one. Before first session, we send you like tutorial videos of how the functions and how e-collar works. So you're kind of getting familiar with it. Come first class, you know what it is and what buttons we're going to be using and all this good information.
Yeah.
So it's just not brand new. Because then first lesson, we want to get started right away.
Yeah.
Don't want to take too much time like walking through the e-collar stuff.
Yeah, not like the basics, but like not like I don't know if I would be comfortable introducing it to him myself without someone who knows what they're doing, because I don't want to introduce it to him the wrong way and then
Yeah. Yeah, it's the videos are just like, this is the button we use, this is what these other buttons do, this is how to fit it, this is how you know
Okay.
it's right, and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
So it's just like stuff like that, and not
Oh, cool.
not training
Okay.
anything. So first class, so how the in-person works is one-on-one, right? So we like to meet and operate at Oz Park.
Okay.
Oz Park is the busiest park in Chicago.
Yeah.
Off-leash dogs, runners, scooters, bikes, rollerblades, baseball games. There's like a tour group that comes every Sunday, I think, and it's like 20 bikes that just all of a sudden just pass you up, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff going on there. So if you can train your dog at Oz Park, I'm pretty sure you can train your dog anywhere. And it sounds like you're already in a busy area, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
so
you do in-house at all or no?
yes, so we still do in-home. So I had a client that lived in the city, but they lived in like, oh no, but they didn't drive, but they lived right next to a park. So what we did was just we met at that park to kind of create a similar
Yeah.
environment, kind of.
No, I live right by House Park, so that's not a problem. It was
So
just for like, I don't know. Yeah, just for teaching him, I guess, how to be calm when guests are over, or just really not jumping. But I guess you can do all that there.
yeah, so we have we can do sessions in the home if needed, right?
Okay.
So we like to just teach him first what e-collar is. So first lesson would be kind of getting that heel done in shape and everything. So
Yeah.
once it's familiar with it, and then you start practicing heel with e-collar, sometimes demeanors change, sometimes behaviors change. So we'll see what some of the training does, and if like, hey Enrique, like he's still stressing the house, right? Not as much, but he's still a little stressed. And then we'll do a session.
Okay.
Sometimes like dogs who like are obsessed with shadows, glares, or like shining lights, that's like one of their issues that on the consultation they'll bring it up, and then we start training, and then like, hey, how's that going? Like, oh, my dog hasn't done it anymore. Like it just sometimes these things go away. So
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything like that. I mean, I think one of them that I'm pretty confident would go away is like a loud motorcycle. He
yes,
doesn't really like loud engines like that. He doesn't really react, but I definitely, and I think this is probably a good sign. I can tell like when a loud noise comes like that, he'll definitely looks up to me.
hmm,
And he'll like, if he's not right by my side, he'll come right by my side and look up at me like, what's going on?
that's good.
But I
If they
figured
have,
that's one of the things. That's really the only issue that would probably go away with the heel.
yeah, yeah, it's good that he comes to you instead of running away or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, one-on-one is, uh, for example, because we have different programs. We have a 6-week program, the 9-week program, and the 12-week program. So think of a 6-week program as I walk my dog around the block, I need recall, and that's all. 9-week, the patio stuff, 12-week, and then you're doing like the off-leash hiking. So for you, minimum, I think the 9-week would be good. But if you're like wanting everything, all the control, all the fancy commands and everything like that, the 12-week. So it's just depending on you. So let's say we do 12 weeks, right? We will meet Sunday. This, for example, this is just an
Yeah.
example. Sundays, 1 p.m., 12 times at Oz Park, right? Plus one. So that's how many time slots you get. You get 12 slots plus one. That plus one is in case it rains or like, life happens, you need to cancel. You have an extra slot. Once you have used that extra slot, you have to wait to get back on the calendar. So everything is recorded there as well. So if you forget anything, you can always like go back to your videos and rewatch them. Pros and cons for in-person is you're doing everything yourself. So the trainer never touches the dog. We always, and like, I mean, I think I've had to do it like 2 times so far. And I started like a year and a half ago. And Jesse has only done half time, just a few times of actually touching the dog and leash and everything. But we don't touch the dog. It's all verbal instruction. We're just telling you what to do, and then you're learning everything yourself. Because at the end of the day, Rocky's not going to walk or do heel with me. It's going to be you. Um, so it's all verbal instruction. So that's a pro. Pro is we're doing it at Oz Park. Pro is again, you're learning everything. And you're there for every single session, so you're aware of what's going on. Now the con is that it just takes longer than like versus like the board and train and the daycare and train, where like the 4-week program for board and train is equal to 12 weeks. So we can get the 12 weeks done in 4 weeks here. Pros for those is just like you get it done fast, but the con is that you're not there, right? You're still getting videos and everything. You're seeing what's going on, how we're teaching them, but you know, like either way, it sounds like you're still wanting that in person. So just like
Yeah, I think so. I think I would rather do the in person just because I want to be educated, and ultimately I'm the one who's going to be walking him every day and all that kind of stuff.
this. Any questions about the in-person program?
So like well, you said the 6, the 9, and the 12. In like the 6-week program, say what's the difference between like the 6 and the 9, or what would I get in the 6 versus the 9 versus the 12?
Yeah, so the 9-week we work a lot with stationary commands and stationary control to get you to build off to that patio life and everything, and also advancing his other skills to like the long leash phase. The 6-week is just like mostly the short leash phase. We touch the long leash just to give you that to practice, but for the 6-week, you're just learning the heel, recall, and like one stationary command or two if we get to it. The 9-week, you're learning a lot more stationary commands and how to correct it from distance, walking around. We can do a lot of different things. The 12-week, you're learning more of the like emergency commands. So you'll have more commands in the 9-week and the 6-week would have. So like you'll be able to put him in the heel, you'd walk with him, no leash and everything. And in motion, you say down, he downs right away, and you keep walking. Or like if he's over there, you say down, he should drop down or sit, whatever you're wanting to use.
Okay.
And then, if he's really got a good foundation, we can also teach you more different commands and like body awareness stuff and like finish, where like you say finish, and then like he's supposed to flip onto your left side and like, it's a fun little trick. And then from there, heel, then down, and then you can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, he likes all that stuff. Like he knows like a middle and like, so middle, like through my legs, and then right, he'll twist around to my right side. Like, and he enjoys doing that and tires him out too.
Nice. Yeah. So then we can include that in your training program, kind of
Okay.
learning all these different commands, middle, left, right, or heel, or front, or finish, and then place, and then maybe a recall, and then as he's coming, you issue the down and should down on recall. So we can do a lot of different things with e-collar.
Where does his like jumping and greeting people fall into that? How, like, at what session would you address that?
It's very it's depending how bad it is. Like usually we can just do it like we'll do a session, and then that 15 minutes or like that half a session, we'll teach you how to address jumping and everything, and what to do, and we can start working on it. But usually it's nothing that it's like, I say, it's all depending on like you. So like usually when we do our training sessions, dogs tend to not like us for some reason, because we're when we come, he learns something new, which is stressful. So then he's associating, man, every time this guy comes here, we're training, and I don't like this guy. So sometimes they don't want to greet us. But sometimes when they do greet us, we teach you, this is how you would do it. Go do it now. Go put him in situations where like he's probably gonna jump. Obviously, you wouldn't be like this, right? Because this is
Yeah.
telling him to jump, right? But if he gets excited and then he starts jumping, we give you the tools and knowledge to how to address those behaviors. Now, in the home, let's say, it's like, yeah, in the home, he's different, man. He's like super excited still and everything like that. And then that will be a session on its own. Again, teaching him the foundation. Like, so like maybe class around, if we're doing the 12-week, I'd say class 5. We'll see how everything's going once we touch upon these commands. Class 5 or 4. Then it's like, all right, then next session, we'll do an in-home, and then we'll kind of play it by ear, seeing how that goes. But that will definitely be included, teaching him like house manners and like spatial pressure or giving space when guests enter the home. So like usually when the client knocks, or client the guest knocks, dogs start to bark, 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 and they're at the door ready, right? We teach you that when someone barks, he can still bark, whatever, but then he goes somewhere else, like right away. Instead of going to the door, he goes to like his space or whatever. So it's just kind of like playing it by ear, seeing what we can fix on it, or what would be fixed on its own, and if needed, we'll go ahead and make that a session on its own.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. The only, well, I don't know if this would be a potential problem, is he's getting neutered next month on the 11th.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, one
I don't know
second.
your availability.
Was that sweeped first? Hey, Donovan, sweep all that first, the hairs. October 14th, you said?
11th.
11th.
So I don't know your availability of when you could start, but would you be able to start and then maybe take a week off? Or I guess, I mean, I don't know, maybe he could still do, if it is training, light exercise.
It's always like depending on the vet. So if the vet is like, because I had a dog that was spayed and we needed to wait like 2 weeks or something, 3 weeks. I'm not sure how long it took. I can't remember. But usually they always say don't do training right now,
Okay.
right?
Would you be able to break up the sessions then?
It'd probably be easy for you to just start training once he's fully recovered, maybe. Oh no, wait. Today's just September.
So in like 4 weeks, 5 weeks?
So right now there's a lot of availability.
Okay.
That's, yeah, you said October 11th. Yeah, there's a lot of time. So what we can do is we can see how what your availability is like and when we can start. And if it's like, yeah, for these 2 weeks, since we now know, right, then we can kind of plan that out and give space, like you said.
Okay.
I don't know the calendar right now. My assistant Tina knows. She does all the scheduling and everything. She'll be reaching out to you, and you'll be like, she'll be the one that you'll be talking to about bookings and everything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, that should work out. What else? I don't know why I thought it was September 30th for some reason. I'm not sure.
Oh no.
Okay. What else?
So yeah, if I went through that, you could start pretty soon.
Yes.
Okay.
What else? Any other questions about the in-person program?
No, I think that's it.
So currently you still walking on the prong, you said, right?
Yeah.
So we can still use the prong. It's not going to be an issue. We just won't be using it as a training tool. It'll just be there just in case, if like, I don't know, let's say something startles him. Let's say he bolts, but maybe he bolts the other way. He bolts, he gets corrected by the prong collar, then he should go back to you.
Okay.
Right? The flat collar, he'll bolt and he might get a correction, but he might still pull after that flat collar. And then you're going to have an issue of this part right now. Because sometimes you're not going to be fast enough to result to the remote. So then that prong collar can still be there. So there's no, you don't need to get rid of it. You can still have it. Don't worry about like, what's the word, like overloading him or anything like that. It'll be fine.
Okay.
So
eventually, would you switch to a flat collar?
Yeah, you can. Like with just seeing how he is. Which leads me to another common question clients have is after training, like, is the e-collar on forever, or like, is it on 24/7, or like, does it come on, come off, or is it like we finish training and there's no e-collar? How does that work? So for the e-collar, it's on when you need it. So if you're going to go for a walk with Rocky, it's going to be on even after training, always on. And even if your walks are perfect, it'll still be on because we can't predict what's going to happen on these walks. So let's say we're walking in a busy street and all of a sudden car crash happens. So let's say he's like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna bolt the other way, away from this car crash. Because if I go to you, I'm going to the car crash, and you go this way. And I say you get caught off guard because your walk is so good that maybe you're kind of walking loosely with your leash. And I say he bolts or maybe like the prong collar breaks, because these prong collars, they can break sometimes, like the prongs will just fall up, like one prong will fall apart. So say he's bolting, right? He's in flight mode. So when dogs are in flight mode, they're literally thinking kill or be killed. So, hey, Rocky, no, or hey, Rocky, come is not going to just make him turn around, right? You're going to need power to override the brain in that moment to force him to come back to you. So that's what the e-collar would play a part in it. My dogs, Jesse's dogs, Andy's dog, we press a button like maybe like once a month or 2 times a month here and there. And it's like for emergency situations, really. So it's there always, but again, it's there. It's just for there for emergencies or just in case.
I mean, that's ideally my goal is to be able, and I know it obviously takes time, to be able to walk him, have the tools on, but not have to use them. Like he's been on the prong for a couple months now at least, and it doesn't seem like I'm correcting him less, which means I'm not teaching him what I'm doing. And I want to utilize the tools because they can save him, but I want to minimize the corrections and give him the boundaries.
Right. And you're gonna find yourself tapping a lot, pressing the button a lot in the beginning. But like you said, eventually we shouldn't be tapping that much. If we're still tapping a lot later on and after training, there's something wrong with the training or something's not being practiced right or something wasn't clear. That's all.
Okay.
But let's say, like I said, it's on when you need it, and the walks you need it. Let's say in the home, like right now, no one's over, you're not expecting anyone, he's just chill, hanging out, then you don't need it. Let's say guests, you plan on having guests come over, you would collar him up 30 minutes prior, address whatever that is needing to be addressed. And after that, if you find that Rocky's pretty much chilled out throughout the rest of the night, you can take it off, or if you can keep it on just in case, maybe like someone gets excited and gets amped up, you have that to at least control your dog if someone's, messing around, whatever.
Okay.
What else? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What else? Am I missing anything? Are we talking about the follow-up email? Missing anything anxious? Yeah, the 2.25 millimeter Herm Springer, correct?
Yes.
Good. Any other questions about anything? E-collars, training programs, methods, or anything like that?
No, I think that's really it.
Okay. And then just heads up. Oh.
Well, I guess addressing like his crate, like is there a reason why, or is there something to train where like he loves his crate every night if it's just me and him, won't make a peep, goes in there, sleeps the whole night, versus there's other people who will cry all night? Is it just anxiety or stress?
It's most likely either anxiety, because like someone's in my home, this is different, I don't like this change.
Okay.
Or it's neediness, and he probably wants to be with that person and he wants to get out of that kennel. So usually when dogs are crated, like for like our dogs who come here for the first time, you open that crate door, they want to bark, they want to bolt out, they're like ready to go out, right? Because in the dog's mind, they think it's their right to exit the crate, when for us and what it should be is a privilege. It is a privilege as you were exiting out the crate. You do not need to, you don't bolt out the crates.
Yeah.
So there are exercises we can do to address crates, anxiety and everything, or like when guests come over, how to use the e-collar in that moment to kind of fix that behavior.
Okay. But we can see if it's better down the road and address it as needed.
Yeah, because sometimes, let's say he's awful in the crate, because you're only crating him when guests come over because he's like a little excited and anxious with the guests there when he's out and about, right? Let's say we start training and then he calms down when the guests are there. Well, then you probably don't need the crate anymore. So then it's like, oh, we don't have to kind of address it because he's cool out here. So I'll keep him here. Or let's say he's like, no, like, he's cool out here, yeah, but then it's getting a little crowded. I think he's just getting overwhelmed because like sometimes it's like Usually when the first 3 or 4 guests come over and then more people coming, they start to settle down because now they're realizing, oh, today's a social day, right? But let's say like it's getting a lot of people and like you just don't want him there, you create him, and then if he's getting anxious, you'll have the tools and knowledge to kind of address that anxiety there.
Yeah, I mean, right now I can't even really have one person over.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then that one person, your girlfriend, actually, just heads up that e-collar is very transferable. So let's say Rocky's working train number is 30, right, out of 127. When you press the number on 30 to teach him and train him, and your girlfriend presses the button on 30,
It's gonna be different response. Oh, it's gonna be the same.
yes. So there's no he's stronger than me, she's stricter than me, he's yada yada, right? Or like when the trainer's here, he's good, but when the trainer leaves, he's bad. There's none of that because again, 30 is 30. There's no strength or anything needed. Rocky will never know that you are the one pressing the button. He's gonna be thinking it's like the universe. So there's no like unless like yeah. So don't worry about him like hating you or anything like that because like he's thinking you're shocking me, Dad. I hate you, right? They'll never realize that. We've never seen that happen. We've also never seen dogs lose their goofiness, right? We've trained a lot of goofy dogs, and end of their program, they're still goofy, and you can make them excited. It's just now it's controlled. That's all. Does it make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you would approach it, but like, why do you use the like e-collar over a prong collar as your primary tool?
Yeah, the success rate.
Okay.
So we have positive only, gentle leader, harnesses, prongs, and then e-collar. Right, all of them have their own success rate, and e-collar gets us to 100 to 90% success, right, of off-leash reliable obedience. So if I'm looking at prong collar, or if we're looking at prong collar, we know that this can get us to about 60 to 50% off our reliable obedience. Issues would be taking the leash off, we lose control, so there's a flaw. Sometimes prong collar isn't enough, so there's a flaw there. But we already know e-collar can get us through all those flaws, and it gets us to 90 to 100%. Or we're just gonna go straight to e-collar. Why would we waste all this time with all these other tools if we know for sure e-collar will get us those results with any age? So we start e-collar training when puppies reach 6 months, right? E-collar right away, no matter what the training is for. So if they want just basic obedience, we're using e-collar. We've also trained 4-month-old puppies on e-collar as well. It's a little bit more nuanced where we do need the prong collar just to introduce them to pressure because they're so young. And then we do the e-collar. So we had a Doberman Azula. She was here for 4 weeks for e-collar training. And by the end of her 4-week board and train program, I could walk around this facility outside anywhere off leash. She's right by my side, 4 months old.
Wow.
Little Doberman puppy, right? Obviously, what the issue is that you see this little puppy with a prong collar and an e-collar on. People are like, why is it happening, right? She's going to be a big dog, so there was no issue of us, because she's going to be a big dog. So that's why prong and e-collar worked well with that dog. Now, if it was going to be a little dog, it's a little different story because they're not going to be that big. So the owner wanted as much control as she can get early, right? So that she can have so much successful life with her dog. So that's why we go with e-collar as our primary tool right away. And we know we've also trained dogs with like on harnesses before, right? Dog needed to be on a harness because they had a collapsed trachea, and we still got the job done. Deaf dogs, we still get the job done. Blind dogs, we still get the job done with the e-collar. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Good. Any other questions?
No. Oh, I guess, yeah, actually, like my final was a follow-up. Is it almost overkill then? Like, I mean, he's like a small, medium-sized dog who's like pretty good. He's not like lunging or anything. Is like, if I'm using the e-collars, the e-collar and the prong almost overkill if I'm walking him down the street?
No, the e-collar and prong is like the ultimate control, right? Because if you're walking in the city, right? And then you turn a corner and there's a dog or something where you're gonna like, whoa, right? You have that prong collar to give that immediate control right away. Now, if he's really small, 30 pounds, yeah, you can play it by ear. You can experiment. All right, let's see flat collar with e-collar, see how that goes. Oh, he's
Okay.
fine. Okay, he's fine. If you're like, nah, I had an experience where like I needed the prong collar and I didn't have it, and I needed that immediate control. Like when maybe like indoors or something, right? Usually when clients are indoors, they want the prong collar. But like it's like you said, if he's not like a crazy puller type guy, you can experiment on your own. Right?
Yeah.
There's no issue with that. Like I said, prong collar we're not going to be using for training. It's just kind of like personal preference how you want to go about it that way.
Okay.
Any
Yeah.
other
No, that's about it.
cool? So Tina will be in touch with you. Um, again, programs we talked about. She'll send you the prices and the in-person programs we talked about. The e-collar I recommend for Rocky. Two links, or no, one link to Amazon, or if you want to purchase through us, you can. In-person clients tend to purchase it themselves so that come first class, they're experimenting with it and then follow up on the first lesson. They're already familiar with it. You'll also get sent a agreement form. Once you sign and agree to the agreement form, we can go ahead and Tina will start you with the billing and booking process. Once billing is done and then booking is complete of like availability and everything, because we work with your availability, then we can go ahead and proceed with training. Um, so she'll be in touch. And anything else?
No, I think that's about it. You'd be like, say, next week, end of this week, you think you'd be able to start it if we went through?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as we'll see how everything plays out, right? Usually she'll send a follow-up email tomorrow or like the following day. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I have a lot of availability, so it should be quick.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, if there's nothing else, it's very nice speaking with you.
Yeah.
If any questions come up, feel free to email me and I'll answer them.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.